Good morning, everyone. It is March 10th, 2024, and it's also the first day of daylight savings time in Florida.
Ah,
So we are starting an hour later, right, than usual, right? Or
yeah,
earlier, earlier.
earlier,
I'm
yeah,
so confused
yeah.
with that. I never get it right.
So
But I did do the, we
let's get
did do
this
the
straight. We're
clock.
here.
We're here. Yeah, we hope you are. And our topic today is what's next after prayer?
Mm,
And of course, with prayer, we are talking about affirmative prayer, or the type of prayer we teach, which is also called spiritual mind treatment. And it's a marvelous form of prayer. I just like it so much better than any other form of prayer I ever taught. Most prayers that I do, they can be prayers of gratitude, but largely they were prayers of petition, which is begging God to
mhm.
please um, favor me with an answer to my prayer. And I never had very good results with that. And I prayed a lot as a kid. And then I quit praying at all at about 18. They call that the age of reason. But that's when I sort of threw out everything I'd been taught as a kid and was agnostic for about 10 years until I found this teaching that taught affirmative prayer. And this teaching being what is now the Centers for Spiritual Living. But it's a form of prayer where we, first of all, acknowledge that all the power is God's power, but we consider God all that is. It is the energy that created all of us and continues to create everything. And we, as an energy of a human being, are one with that. So it's not like we're separate, we are connected. And so those are the first two steps, knowing there's a power greater than we are. And second, we're one with it.
And thirdly, we can use it.
And thirdly, yes, thirdly, we can use it. And so we affirm in a statement that the thing that we so desire, we state it as if it already is. I am well, I am healthy, I am happy. I choose this, I have that, as if it already exists. And then we give thanks and release it. But those first two steps are the most important because you connect with the power of the universe and as one with it. Then you can feel as you affirm that you have this, you feel that. And that is the creation step. Now, the problem is, and we know from experience, that often after we do this powerful prayer, we go about our business, and before we know it, we're hoping that this happens. And we're trying to get it to happen.
And we're
And those two words are the words that negate what you just did.
Right.
So remember those two words, trying and hoping. They sound positive, but they are not.
Werner Erhard said, and I love this, probably one of the most profound things he said is hope is what you have when you don't have a plan.
Or a prayer.
Yeah, and well, a prayer is a plan. And
Yes.
so if you are in prayer, you are knowing that this thing already that you're desiring is in existence, and you're simply calling it into your present moment. And why that's important also at another level, you might say in the chemistry of our being, is that when you see it in your mind's eye and you feel it and you hear it and it becomes present for you, and the entire body of your experience is now headed in that direction. Your unconscious now is now looking for the evidence, will support the evidence, will do whatever it needs to. So if you end your prayer, as some people do, with and it is done, and then 30 seconds later say, God, I hope it works. You've just
Hope that word.
you have just undone it. And what we notice is in our vocabulary very often there is the undoing after the doing. And as you said, sometimes it's an hour later, or I hope that prayer works. I did it yesterday. And I did it with so much feeling. I did it with so much intention. And then we unintend it by what we do.
Well, and another problem is that veterans of this teaching will often stop doing prayer treatment for themselves. They will stop doing affirmative prayer. They just get into a general knowing and expecting good. And while that can be good, it also can be not as powerful as actually doing the treatment for yourself, because that's a reminder to know that and affirm it. But as far as creating things we want in our life. You know, also when we're new to this teaching, we think, oh, that would be selfish of me to keep praying for things that I want. No, it's what you came here to do. You came here to be a creator, and you create based on what you desire. So one of the things that really shifted for me when I first learned this, and I made it up myself, but the word desire, because in Spanish and probably in Latin, de means from. And so I would read desire and think, well, that's from the Father, the sire. And so my desires are also the desires of the Father, assuming they're for the good of all. And I hope they are. So, but I have a quote I wanted to share with you about this, your own vision for your life. And it's from Scott Aubrey, a retired minister in our teaching. Do you have a vision for your life, a dream of what life can be that is so much bigger than anything you've known up till now? If you have such a dream and have no idea how to fulfill it, that's a good sign that it's God's dream for you, and the manifestation of it is perfect love. You've been inspired by the same force that created the universe. So when we can think of our desires as also being the desires of source, it's very permission giving. You know, it's not, oh, I'm not just being selfish because I want this, that, or the other, but I'm doing what I came here to do, to be a creator.
I want to speak to speak to it a little differently, and again in the same topic. That is, you came here. I believe you came here. We came here. Each of us came here to have the best, most powerful, extraordinary life that is possible. We didn't come here for someone else. We came here for ourselves. So it really is at a very deep level all about you. It is about you creating your absolute best possible life. And you can discover in the process of that best possible life millions and millions of ways to express that, to be in that. But what's important is you get that you're here for you, not for somebody else's vision of you or somebody else's expectation of you or somebody else's appreciation of you. You're here to have the most extraordinary life. Now, to go one step further with that is, now that you've got that clear and you know for sure, I'm here for me, I'm here to have the most extraordinary life I can possibly have. Then my question is, what are you doing in your life that is in favor of that? And I want to spend a couple minutes on that, if that's good. What are you doing in favor? And when I say, what are you doing in favor of your life, I want to use an analogy of that. So let's say that you have your house poorly furnished and you've been living with that furniture for a very long time, and you decide that what you want to get is new furniture. Well, the question first off is, will you intend that to the point where you will actually make room for it? One of the first things you have to do is get rid of the old furniture in order to make room for the new. You have to be willing in your house, the house that is you, to make room for, and then to support and to do everything in favor of that possible conclusion. What I find happening for me is very often is I hold on to the old, waiting for the new, hoping the new will actually settle. But the trouble is I haven't made room for it. I haven't acted as if this is absolutely true. What I do, as we talked about earlier, is I will undo it unwittingly.
Mm-hmm.
So, and another good, I think a good example of that is, as you move in the body of intention, as you create the body of intention, and you find yourself traveling that, it's a lot like a boat in the water, in the sea of life, in the sea of possibility. And so that boat is moving forward because you're accelerating it. You're at the helm. Now, what happens is it's interrupted. That is, your intention is interrupted. Something gets in the way, and you take your hand off the accelerator. And what happens? Interestingly, the boat doesn't stop. The boat continues. And so, what you could say is there is a wake with your intention. And sometimes when you lose vision or you lose sight of it, if you have been traveling solidly, you have been traveling with intention, you have been traveling with the power of the divine working through you, you can actually step out of that intention briefly, and it'll continue to carry you and even bring you back to it. How many of you have had the occasion of giving up on something only to find out it hasn't given up on you? And so there's a period of time. So that what it allows us to do, and why this is so important, is you want to create an intention that you can feel the momentum from, that you can feel the power of, because you're less likely then to have difficulty with it or to give it up and abandon it.
So you said a very powerful word several times. That is the answer to when you fall into hoping and trying to make this happen. And that is intention. Whenever you find yourself hoping and trying to have something manifest that you would like to have, or be, do, or experience, it doesn't have to be a thing. It can be an experience. But when you find yourself trying, switch to intention. It is my intention for this to be created by the universe. It doesn't, we do say, because treatment is one of the words for this kind of prayer. It's a spiritual mind treatment. So we do say treat and move your feet. In other words, you have this intention and you have this desire and you move in that direction, but don't do it with a sense of trying to make it happen yourself. All things happen to create this. Energy from the entire universe, from people, places, and things come together to create it for you. So don't think you have to do it all yourself. That's what's so powerful about it.
I'm doing a lot of work, and I have over the years, because I work in mental health with the recovering community. And I was meeting with several recovering people the other day, all of whom are afraid of relapse. And relapse in addiction, of course, is going to the substance that you've used in the past. But relapse is also in our daily living, going back to the old ideas that don't work, hoping that somehow they won't overwhelm us or we won't get stuck on them. And so the thing that I said, and I'm saying it to us here, to the recovering community, is what are you doing and how many things have you done in favor of your recovery? Do you have enough things in favor of your recovery that if something breaks down, something else is there for you? So if you have a great idea, how have you shared that idea? How have you given roots to that idea? How have you watered that idea? And the more care you give to it, the more intention you give to it, the less likely you are to have anything interrupted to the point where you can't then stay on track.
Right. I have a couple of quotes from our founder, Ernest Holmes, and he says, "We all have the ability to transcend previous experiences and rise triumphant above them, but we shall never triumph over them while we persist in going through the old mental reactions."
That's exactly.
The old mental reactions of things never happen for me that I want. I'm not sure I deserve this. A lot of negative self-talk that we've learned along the way. He also says releasing the weight of past limiting beliefs and judgments, including self-judgments, frees us to rise up in faith, which is mental assertion elevated to the plane of realization. And what realization means is realizing of what it is that you want to experience, but it also, realization is knowing your oneness with all that is, with the divine, and realizing this situation that you would like to manifest. Now, and they can come instantly. I've had many instant, I'm sort of losing track now. I used to say 7, but I think I'm up to 9 instantaneous healings by various methods. And it doesn't always happen. I can't always make it happen. But some of them are instant and some of them have taken me 6 years.
Right, or more.
All right.
Some of the
Some of
things,
them we're still working on.
some of them will take an entire lifetime.
But I take it back. We're still intending.
Right.
See, if we think we're working on it, we think we have to do it.
And I want to give us a word I've given us before, but that's a really important one. You say this is my intention. And so this is what I know, because I know that what I intend as is real, and it's real in many dimensions, and it's real, and I can call it into existence. And as soon as you finish that prayer, what will often happen is, how? And when we hear the word how, very often we have just demoted the power. We have diminished the power. We have taken it away. So I'm going to give you a word that you can use. I know this is true. I know it is real. I affirm it. I realize that it's true. And how it's going to happen is a mystery. And I'm going to allow it to be a mystery because I don't have to figure it out. What I've noticed is that figuring things out with a limited mind keeps us limited to the limited mind. And so what I'm doing is I'm saying it's a mystery. I turn it over to the greater, to the more. And there are so many things that have happened for you that are in favor of you that you have wanted to have happen that you never could have figured out they were going to happen the way they happened. And so indeed, if you look back at your own life, so much of what you've accomplished has been intended, and how it happened was truly a mystery that you were willing to allow.
Exactly. So I want to go back to those first two steps just to give you another added benefit of those. For me, the first two steps is what meditation is. In other words, meditation is usually taught where you sit and you breathe certain breaths and you try to still your mind. But for me, meditation is stilling my mind so that I can connect to the divine and then knowing I'm one with it. That is what meditation is. And Yogananda said this about meditation. He said, if you really want to rid yourself of the present bad habits you have, no greater recourse than meditation exists. Every time you meditate deeply on God, beneficial changes take place in the patterns of your brain.
And you don't have to know how.
So I was talking with Dr. Pamela Gray, with whom I'm doing a excuse me, with whom I'm doing a class. She and I presenting a class that I'll do a screen share and show you about. But it had to do with I'm sorry, I disappeared.
You disappeared.
Okay. It has to do with this. I told her that in this class, we also teach the steps of treatment, and we were discussing whether that was wise or not. Where is the screen share? There we go. And I said, but those first two steps are just so important. You know, you can do nothing else but those first two steps, and it will change your life. So this is, just click on this one. I guess they're both up.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one on the left is the spiritual speaking workshops that we're doing. And the first one, there will be Saturday workshops, one a month. And the first one is March 23rd, in a couple of weeks, on a Saturday from 1 to 4. The one in April is creative expression. In May, it's health and well-being. And June is living richly. So if you're interested, and those are $99 for each 3-hour session. And if you do all 4 of them, there's a 15% reduction that comes out to 300 and something. So that's what we charge for one of our accredited classes. This is not a class accredited, but if you'd like to register, by that I mean accredited with our home organization, but it probably will become so. And so you just go to www.poweryourdecisions.com/workshop to register for that, coming up in a couple of weeks on Saturday. So I wanted to let you know about that. And then of course, also it's time now for our celebration of sharing,
Okay.
which you just put away.
Oh, we'll go back to it. Screen share. And
that one, yes.
Yeah.
And we can do them one at a time. I think, no, maybe
no,
not.
Can't. They're both up.
But at any rate, what is this? Okay, participants can now see this. So this is the first page of our website, and you can't see it right here, but there is a button that says ways to donate. And by going to the cslpalmbeaches.org website, you'll see that. And so
Can't do it.
It will show you ways that you can give to our organization, Center for Spiritual Living of the Palm Beaches. And we appreciate your support. It allows us to continue doing this work. So don't stop the share. So let's say right now this affirmation, and you say it where you are, we'll say it where we are. My investment today is made with the full realization that God is the source of my supply and returns it to me enriched and multiplied. And so it is. See, that's an affirmative statement stating what we desire.
Okay. Well done.
Now let's end the recording, please.